Hey, what's up everyone? So in this video today I'm going to show you how to turn a Figma design into a really cool 3D web page like this using the new Dora plugin. So let's get into it. Alright, so here we are in my Figma design. So as you can see, I have a very simple landing page here. And before we move everything to the Dora platform, we need to clean up the design to make sure that these layers are essential and there's no hidden layers or things that you don't need. So things like these lines, so I would prefer to create this line in Dora platform. So I'm going to remove this. And once you're done, we can go to the plugin tab. So you can see that I already have the plugin here, but if this is your first time, you can click on the Find More plugin and search for Figma to Dora, and you can see that it's showing up here. So with the artboard selected, I'm going to click Run, and then it started to copy all of the layer in this artboard. And all you have to do next is go to the Dora platform and paste everything to it. So here I am in the Dora platform, so I'm going to create a new project and let's name it WAPS. For those of you who are not familiar with Dora, it's a platform that can give you the power to build a website with no coding. Alright, so here we are in a new Dora project. So first thing, let me double check the canvas. So desktop's good. And the next thing I want to make sure that we have the same artboard height. So let's copy this and go back to Dora and then move it a little bit. And here you can paste or put in the exact height at the Figma artboard. So now we have a long canvas like this. So previously we have copied all the layer from Figma, and now all you have to do is just to paste everything to this canvas. So let's hit Command or Control V. And now you can see that the uploading progress is going on down here. So just give it a couple of seconds and then bam, all of your design from Figma has been transferred to the Dora platform. And I can tell that it remained the exact position of the Figma layout, and also remain all of these layers separated and editable like these text. Alright, so next step, I'm going to go through each of these layers to make sure that they are set up properly for responsiveness. Okay, so let's select these headers and let's ungroup it. And I'm going to select all of these elements and move it back to the original position. And for these element on the right, I need it to be constrained to the right viewport. So let's select this hamburger menu and then connect it to the right edge of the viewport and connect the top dot to the top of the viewport. And same for the profile icon, so let's connect to the viewport top and connect this part to the hamburger menu. And do the same for the elements on the left, but we're going to connect it to the viewport left, and same here, connect it to the viewport top. And for the big text here, so by default it's already constrained to the viewport top and the two sides, but I don't want this to stay at the viewport top, so I'm going to click here and then just release it to remove the constraint. So the next thing I want to do is to create the free vertical line that run across the whole page. So let's click here to create a container at any size. So you can go here to set the width as 1 pixel. And for the height, I'm going to switch it to viewport height and set this as 100. So that means it's going to be 100% of the viewport height. And now let's select light and then align it to the top like this. And then let's connect it to the viewport top. And next I'm going to duplicate it into 2 more lines, and I'm going to select the middle line and then constrain it to the 2 sides of the viewport. So now this line will always be at the center of the page. And then let's select this line and connect this to this and this to the viewport right. And now it's being distributed here. And do the same for the other line. So here connected to the middle line, and this one connected to the viewport left. So now all of the 3 lines is being distributed evenly. So let's publish it to see how it works. So here is the preview, so you can scale the browser to see if it's working or not. So as you can see that it's working perfectly. So you may notice there's a gap here in the background, so no problem, just go back and then click on the canvas and go to the width setting and switch it to fill space. So let's go back to the preview and then refresh, and boom, the gap will disappear and now it's working really nice. Alright, and the next thing I want to do is to tie this text to the light next to it. So let's just move it to the right position, and then let's select the first text and then just link it to this light right here. And also for this one, I'm going to link it to the upper text. So now let's refresh, and now it's being aligned, and when you scale the browser, it will always align to the line, so it's looking pretty cool. And then I'm going to move all of these lines down to the bottom of the list to make sure that it's not overlapping any of the front element. And now let's apply the same process for the rest of the page to make sure everything is aligned properly. Alright, so after all of that, we have a really tight layout and fully responsive. And next step, I wanted to add a layer underneath the navigation bar because sometimes it's overlapping. So let's go back here and create a container, and let's set the width to 100% viewport width and move it to the right position and change the color to match the background colors. And make it much shorter, and let's move it down to the list to make sure that it is underneath the other element. And then let's click on this icon here to open the timeline panel. So if you move this pointer around, you can see that the viewport is moving up and down to indicate the scrolling animation. So I need the panel to always stay at the top of the viewport, so let's connect it to the viewport top. So now you can see that it's staying sticky to the viewport top. And another thing I want to do is to create some fading in animation for these big numbers. So really simple, all you have to do is just to drag the timeline pointer to the position where the numbers shows up in the viewport, and then create a keyframe here and then move it back a little bit and set the opacity to 0, and then it will automatically create keyframe and also create this animation. So let's refresh to see how it's work here. So you can see that there's a fading effect here to make it feels more natural, and then you can apply it to the rest of the page. Alright, so let's move into the next step. So I'm going to import a 3D model to the page. So here I am at sketchfab.com. This is a marketplace for you to find a lot of 3D models that is compatible with Dora. So I purchased this really cool animated wasp models. So let's click here to download it. So we have a lot of options here. So GLB format will work best with Dora. So let's download the 1K versions because it's much lighter. So now let's get back to Dora, and then I'm going to click here to create a 3D widgets, and then set up the constraint to make sure that it's filled up the whole screen. Alright, so now let's click on this button here to import the GLB that we just downloaded, and give it a few seconds, and then boom, we have this 3D models right here. So you can use the mouse scroller to zoom in or out, and using the right mouse to pan the camera, and you can select the 3D models and turn on this toggle to enable the animation. So this is what it looks like in the previews. And now I wanted to add some keyframe to the 3D wasps so it can, flying around instead of just staying in the same position. So let's select the camera and go to the timeline panel down here and create a keyframe at the frame 0, and then move it to the point where you want it to adjust the camera angle. So maybe this point, and let's select the camera and click the left mouse to drag the camera to this position. So you can see that it automatically creates keyframes. So now when you move the timeline, you can see that the web is moving from the right to the left as we scroll, and now you can even click here to add some easing to it. Alright, so now all we need to do is to apply the same thing for the rest of the scrolling. Alright, so from the process of doing that, I just realized that I have accidentally removed this blurry backgrounds. So no problem, let's just go back to Figma and using the plugin to copy this image to the Dora platform. Now let's put it in the frame and then run the plugin, and just go back to Dora and hit Command V or Control V for PC. And now you can see that the image is being pasted up here. So let's just move it back to the section down here. Alright, so now we have something like this. So it still feels a little bit like static. So I wanted to rotate the webs a little bit as we scroll. So let's select the 3D scene on the left panel and then create a keyframe at the frame 0. And then move the pointer to the exact keyframe of the camera at this point. And then let's change the rotation value to 60 degrees. And then add the same easing to this animation. And apply the same process for the rest of the animation. Alright, so this is how the final result look like. So I know this is a very simple web page, but because we don't have a lot of time, but I think this is enough to demonstrate how handy this Figma to Dora plugin can be. So I think it's really gonna help boost the whole process of bringing design into Dora and make everything faster and more flexible. So for those of you who want to learn more about Dora, you can just go to the description and then follow the official Dora YouTube channels, where you can find a lot of in-depth tutorials to create awesome websites with no coding. So this is the end of my tutorial today, so I hope you find this helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. Alright.